A Star is Born is directed by and stars Bradley Cooper, and it's also his directorial debut.
And this movie also stars Lady Gaga and Sam Elliott. And this movie is actually the third remake of this, with the original coming out in 1937, starring Janet Gaynor and Frederick March, with the first remake being released in 1954, starring Judy Garland and James Mason. And then the second remake being released in 1976, starring Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson. And in this film, an alcoholic, drug-addicted, famous musician meets an aspiring singer at a club one night and immediately falls in love with her and decides to help lift off her career. Now, immediately going into this movie, one of the scariest things about this movie, which was just said, which is
Got electrocuted.
Yeah. Now, for most people, including myself, one of the scariest aspects about this movie is the fact that it is a third remake. So that means this is the fourth movie out of all these, and so that can kind of put some people off. But one of the most important things I want to say about this movie is this movie really takes on its own. It really takes on like its own story. And even though it's similar, all of them have a similar plot, it really does take advantage of this plot and realize that it needs to do more than just remake a film.
Watching the trailers, I really had no interest in seeing it. The trailers honestly seemed kind of a boring type of movie, and I've never seen any of the old movies, so I didn't really know the story that well. But going into it, watching it, like, it honestly, like, there's really never really like a dull moment.
Yeah.
He actually kept it up pretty well, and it's actually a pretty interesting story, and with the way they told it, it's actually pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, and the sad thing is opening night we decided to go see Venom. But thankfully, this movie is so much better than Venom. Bradley Cooper. This is his first movie directing, like we said, but oh my goodness, he really has a future directing. He is fantastic in this film with every aspect. His acting, which Bradley Cooper has always been a tremendous actor.
Right.
But this movie, like, really, his acting ability really outshines in this movie. You can see it completely.
Which I actually read that he actually wanted to be a director before he wanted to be an actor. So it's nice that he's finally getting his chance to do it.
And Lady Gaga, who we don't ever really see in movies that often. I saw her in, like, American Horror Story. What was it called? Hotel, and I absolutely hated that show. I watched like 2 or 3 episodes. I was done.
I've never seen it. So.
But she did phenomenal in this movie too.
Yeah, she was actually surprising. Which, I mean, it wasn't like super surprising. I wasn't expecting her to be bad. But usually when singers are in movies for like one of the first times, like, you don't really know what to expect. And like her singing, especially, like, because I read that she motivated Bradley Cooper to have them sing actually live in the movie, so it's not like pre-recorded. So they're singing live. When you see them sing in this movie, they're singing live. And it's just like amazing performances from both Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
I didn't even know Bradley Cooper could sing well. And Lady Gaga, nothing surprising there. She's probably the best female voice we have of today.
And talking about the acting, not just from the leads, from Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, but Sam Elliott, he has sort of a small role in this movie, but his performance in this movie is also pretty perfect. I'm honestly would be surprised if like none of them get nominated for an Oscar in next year. And that sort of leads me to my next point also, is that this movie has a lot of emotional scenes.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Like some scenes really tug at your heartstrings.
I'm gonna say, like, there's some scenes. There was a scene near the end. There was something that happened in one of the last scenes where, like, it was like me pushing back as hard as I could with my tears, and like it was hard. Like this movie gets very sad, gets very emotional. Sam Elliott has some of the best emotional scenes. The cinematography is just beautiful, pretty much with every scene. They have these really intimate shots of whether it's 2 people or just one person by themselves that really make you feel what they're feeling, you know? Really puts you into the moment where, like, nothing, just like the people themselves feel nothing else is around them but themselves. And it really, the cinematography really accents that feeling. Yeah,
and especially in the concert scenes, like, especially, like, you wouldn't really think that cinematography in the concert scenes would be that, like, or that great or anything. But, like, especially the scene when he first brings Lady Gaga out to the stage in the beginning of the movie. It's just something, just how they filmed it, it was just really impactful.
Yeah. And a lot of these scenes a lot of this movie is pretty freaking motivational. You know, there's things that I have dreams of doing, maybe you have dreams of doing, and it really made me be like, man, this is something I really need to try to go for. Like, it's something I really need to try to do. Not singing in particular, but just certain things that I want to do with my life. It's this movie,
especially with the entertainment business.
Yeah, this movie made me really want to go for it. This movie, it had its fair share of issues, but I'm not going to go off and say that these fair share of issues weren't like detrimental to this movie. They didn't make a huge impact on this movie. But one of the biggest ones that I had was the guy who played Lady Gaga's manager. His name is Rafi Gavrin. I felt like his acting wasn't the best. It could have been better, but thankfully he's not a big part of this movie.
Yeah. One issue that I had was that, the whole movie itself is pretty strong. It's a really good movie overall. But I felt like the first half of the movie was a lot stronger. Well, I won't say a lot stronger, but it was definitely stronger than the second half until the very end. The very end is actually really, really good. Yeah. Just the first half overall was stronger than the second half.
I think to me, the reason why it feels that way, which I feel like they're both of what happens in the movie, both halves I feel like are equally strong.
Right. It's
just that this movie to me is just a little too long.
The beginning it like shot off with a bang, with like the momentum, and then it got to a certain point where it's just like, okay, this just needs, especially with how, I'm not gonna say it's like a super simple plot, but it wasn't like a super complex plot to where it needed to be like super long. So it sort of felt like, okay, there's a certain point when they could have like shaved off a little bit of the end.
Especially since a lot of the movie is dedicated to showing the relationship between Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper's character. Whenever really, just from the very beginning, like the get-go, you really see how interesting this relationship is. And that's one of the best things about this movie, just the relationship between the two. You feel it so much. It's hard to deny or see anything other than these two people being completely in love. And like Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga really pull that off. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually fell in love during the movie because it's so freaking real. But like, so that being said, I feel like they didn't have to go so much into it continuously for like over and over again, because it really did make the movie a little too long. My next issue, which is probably the smallest issue, but then again, it does kind of mess up a few things. Both Sam Elliott and Bradley Cooper's voice are really deep, and they're really strong accented.
Right. It's sort of like Sam Elliott already has a natural deep voice, and then Bradley Cooper trying to match it.
Yeah, to the point where, and I'm not going to say their accent was bad. Their accent was actually really good, especially Bradley Cooper, because Sam Elliott has that voice, but Bradley Cooper, spot on accent. But it got to the point where a lot of scenes I didn't know what they were saying, and I feel like on second watch it'll probably be better because I probably will know what they're saying. But there is some scenes that were really emotional, and I could feel the emotion. But they would say something, and I'm like, what in the world did they say? You know? Right. And even though it made me feel that way, I wish I would have known what they said in that scene.
Overall, the editing for the movie was pretty great, but there were certain times where it seemed sort of weird, and unfortunately, I noticed it whenever like major events were happening in the movie, especially some things that happened in the first half, one involving like a ring, and then the other involving like Sam Elliott and Bradley Cooper. They had a little fight, and like the editing, like there's a time where Bradley Cooper was like walking, and then like the very next cut, he was like sitting down in the same scene. It was just like really weird. It was sort of rushed. The scene was. Yeah,
which the whole movie itself, we're not going to say that the movie itself is rushed. It's just that there's a lot of plot points that were kind of rushed.
All right, time for the IMDb questions. Number 1. For his role in the movie, Bradley Cooper was taught to play guitar by the son of which legend? A. Johnny Cash, B. Willie Nelson, C. John Denver, or D. Bob Dylan?
I'm going to say John Denver.
Are you final answer?
Yes.
You are incorrect, sir. It's B. Willie Nelson, which he actually wrote, the son of Willie Nelson also wrote a lot of the songs, but not in this movie. Number 2. Who was originally cast in the leading part before being replaced by Lady Gaga? A. Kesha, B. Demi Lovato, C. Beyonce, or D. Jennifer Lopez?
The only like actual one that sounds correct, which I don't really think would be good, probably Beyonce.
Final answer?
Yeah.
You are correct. Which actually, all the other three were also in talks to play.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Beyonce was actually cast, but then replaced.
Yeah. Beyonce's a good singer, not a very good actress at all. Anyways, guys, so this movie, I'm going to say, was phenomenally directed. Bradley Cooper really has a future in directing. Lady Gaga has a great future in acting, too. And just tremendously acted overall. This movie has probably one of the saddest movies I've seen in a long time. Okay, a lot of times I can hold back tears pretty easily. This movie was so difficult. I'm going to go ahead and say that A Star is Born is 89% awesome.
This movie was definitely surprising for me. Like I said at the beginning, like I had really no interest in it. I thought it was going to be a boring movie. To be honest, I thought it was going to be like a chick flick movie, maybe a step above chick flick movie, but it actually was a really, really good movie. And I definitely would recommend it. It wasn't a flawless movie by any standards, but it was definitely pretty close to it. I'm going to say A Star is Born is 86% awesome.
Well, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment and let us know what you thought about A Star is Born, how you love this movie, or maybe you didn't like it at all. Also, if you've seen all the other movies, the original or the remakes, or even some of them, go ahead and put down in the description maybe which one you like the most.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2AwesomeMen.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.